And John Thomas is here tonight. If you want to go ahead and put a bug in his ear, or I can.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Monday, February 5th, 2024 Dalton City Council meeting to order. In doing so, I would ask Mr. Mock to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda of the order that we will have special recognition prior to public commentary. If I ask for a motion to do so,
Motion. Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Councilmember Farrow, I believe you have a,
Yes, since our last meeting, Mooney Chitwood passed away. He was quite a public figure during my formative years. He was a city councilman here for many years. And then he served on the Solid Waste Authority for many years after that. Also, his family has had quite a legacy even after his service. His oldest son, Barnett Chitwood, was our planning and zoning representative here for decades. And then his youngest son, Scott Chitwood, is now serving his 8th term as sheriff of Whitfield County. So it's quite a legacy, and he's quite, a part of our city's history. And so I would like, Madam Mayor, that we maybe just have a moment of silence to remember him and his contribution to our community.
thank you very much. As we move forward through the agenda, again, we're going to reverse that public commentary will follow. Special recognition. We have a very exciting two state championships to celebrate. So I'm going to come down front, and I think Caitlin Sharp going to have some presentation of certificates.
Yeah.
Okay.
First, I want to thank the parents for bringing your kids out. Y'all might have heard a loud rumbling in the hallway, but it's because we have some excited soccer players, rightfully so, that should be very excited to be state champions. At any level, being a state champion is a very big deal. These kids are all-star teams. They were handpicked by their coaches just because of not only their skill on the field, but also their sportsmanship. And so we should be very proud of them. And before I hand it over to our mayor to say a few words, I want to thank the parents for supporting your kids. It's an additional responsibility to take on to keep your kids in youth sports. And it's a big deal for development of just the young individual that they are. And then a big thank you to our coaches, because I think a key to having a successful youth sports program are the people that you have that lead your program, and those are our coaches. And so thank you guys very much for leading these excited and great soccer players to their hopefully not their only state champion. Hopefully there are many to come state championships. Yeah. So, we're gonna hand out your, certificates. Do you have a specific age group you want to start with? So if we could have our 8U state champions come on up here. You want to face your parents, Victor, will call your names and then we can photo with you guys.
Muy buenos días, papás. Solamente les quería agradecer a todos los papás. Es un sacrificio. Gracias por el compromiso que han hecho, porque sin ustedes no pueden hacer esto. Gracias a todos los coaches y a todos los niños. También estamos muy orgullosos de ellos. So I'm going to call out your name, guys. I think I recognize a lot, but just raise your hand and then I'll hand you the certificate. Or you want them, the coach, to give them the certificate so they can see the picture? All right, Romeo Becerra. Raúl Capistrán. Julian Cuevas. Adrián del Bosque. Santiago Hernández. Alonso Ojeda. Jacob Peña. Jeremiah Piscitelli. Carson Richards. Castiel Taylor. Jesus Ulloa. Michael Winterbottom. And again, congratulations, guys, to our 8U state champions. We are very proud of you. Congratulations.
Together and we'll take a picture. That's not gonna work together and get a picture. Yeah, let's get together. Yeah. Here, y'all can hold the trophy up there.
If the council doesn't mind, we'll get all of them in the photo. We'd love to get a photo.
Let's scoot over because can we scoot over just a little bit? Because he's right in front of the mic. I said,
Get a number one, get a big smile. I'm gonna have you hold that down so we can get everybody's face. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Three state champions. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, so.
All right, so we are lucky enough to recognize not just one team, but two teams. So I'm going to have the 10 and under state champs head on up here.
You know, the DJ Collins song, all we do is win, we should play it.
All right, guys, let me scoot in there. I'm good. So same drill, guys. I'm gonna call out your name. Just look at me. I think I recognize a lot of the faces again. But just call out your name. Look at me. Gael Avila. Bentley Blackburn. Nathaniel Briseño. Hector Calderon. Christopher Cruz. Elian Garcia. Jose Jacobo. Daniel Magaña. Juan Moreno. D'Angelo Campo. Bryson Rangel. Luis Elias. Armando Silva. Again, congratulations to our 10U state champions. Congratulations.
Go together.
Some of y'all can be on the floor too. Don't. Yeah. Some of you guys can scoot in the floor. Yeah.
State champs on three. 1, 2, 3. Victor to call our coaches up.
All right, so we want to thank our coaches. We are very grateful and we're very appreciative of y'all. We couldn't run without our coaches. These are volunteer coaches that they put dedication, time, and effort. It's not easy being a coach, and we appreciate you so much. So we want to recognize our coaches for 10U, Clint Richards. And his assistant, Ms. Capistran. Now our 10U coach, congratulations, Angel Alvarado. Once again, we want to thank our coaches for this great achievement. Again, it's not easy being a coach. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of planning to become a coach, and especially to achieve this special achievement. We have 7 districts all over Georgia with many parks and recreations, and they are number ones on their division. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you, Caitlin, and to all the staff at Dalton Parks and Rec. Really appreciate you guys, and we hope to see you back here next year for your next state championship. So you guys did a great job, and hopefully you'll have just as much success in the seasons to come. We're going to have a very short recess and let you guys be excused if you wish, and please feel free to take all the pictures you want out front and in the lobby, and we really appreciate all the moms and dads and families that are here. It's really great to see all the support that these fine young gentlemen have. So thank you.
I don't know if anybody else filled out a card. At least one speaker. You want me to just go do it?
I was looking for Jessica.
You turn the mic around. Jesse. Thank you. Thank you, Evan. Always working. I like it.
Oh, really? We'll make it out.
What did you do?
He'll
back.
come to work for me, don't he?
He wants to, and I don't know.
You trying to get a job? See? Ask that man now. Ask these people here.
Moving on in our agenda, we have public commentary. I do have one card, and is there anyone else that's since filled out a card? Mr. Perez, if you want to come forward, sir, and speak, that would be great. Is there anyone else that has a card filled out? Okay.
Thank you. I'm Octavio Perez, resident of the city of Dalton, 2216 Mount Heaven Drive. There's three items that I have, if I hope it doesn't take more than 3 minutes, but
No, you,
the main one is I'm concerned about Dalton Utilities. The lobby has been closed for over 2 years. I understand that the reason why it was closed was the pandemic was going on. But at this point, not even the hospital is closed. Anybody can go to the hospital, emergency room, any office. Dalton Utilities being part of the city of Dalton, I think the lobby needs to be open. There's a lot of customers and clients, they like to go inside, not necessarily to pay the bills. It takes an act of Congress now to get into the office. I don't have a problem because I can call and set an appointment, but there's a lot of developers, builders that they need to go in at the spur of the moment. So I don't know if somebody can tell me a reason why it's closed. I will listen carefully.
I would like to mention that John Thomas, the CEO of Dalton Utilities, is here this evening and is very happy to comment, but I would like to offer you the opportunity, Mr. Perez, to continue with your other items. You said you have 3 before.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The second item has to be with downtown. Downtown, especially with the deck on the downtown that it was demolished because of some problems that we have, and I don't have a problem with that. But I think it needs to be rebuilt, and it has to be more than just one store. I think we need to be 2 or maybe 3. There's a lot of activities going downtown, and there's not enough parking. So I don't know if this is something that it will be considered by the city, or it needs to be considered. I don't, and soon, the sooner the better. The third item has to do with, I congratulate the city and some of the people who's planning to do a development for residential in the south end of the city, South Hamilton. Of course, this was approved on the zoning department, but there's a concern that I have over there is that the number of units that are going to be, the more units that we can put over there, the better we are. But you have to have enough parking for 2 cars per unit because there's no parking on the street. And it is true that Mr. Pangol said that they have looked into some of those developments in Atlanta, and there's a big difference between Atlanta and Dalton. Dalton doesn't have public transportation. And the people who's going to live there, they need enough places to park properly. And I think that's probably that is in the works. But I hope they keep that in mind.
Thank you, Mr. Perez, for your comments. I would offer at this time if John Thomas from Dalton Utilities wishes to speak. Thank you. As far as your other comments, Mr. Perez, regarding downtown, we're continuing to look at when that deck was taken down to find the right strategy for responding to the parking needs downtown. And I think in the weeks ahead, the professional staff at the city will weigh in on what our role should be and make a recommendation to the council about what our next steps would be in doing a study for parking and if that study is warranted. And then as far as 900 South Hamilton Street, absolutely, I take your point that we're not Atlanta. We don't have the transportation or the ride share that exists in Atlanta, but we certainly are ready to take that step as a community to look at the housing, meeting those housing needs that Allison Coker shared earlier in our work session. But we need to be cognizant of the consequences of that dense an area with limited parking. So I appreciate your bringing that up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I on? Okay. I'll turn my back to Jonathan because that's the smallest crowd. How about that? Sorry, Steve. So, in response to your concern about the lobby, I'd say this. One, our lobby is not closed. It is, our doors say by appointment if you walk up to the lobby. And what I'd say is maybe that's a poor messaging because we have customer service representatives that answer phone calls all day, answer almost 150,000 phone calls a year. So we have people there working to support customers' needs. And if the phone number that is on the door is called, you reach one of our customer service representatives and they can let you in the lobby if business needs to be performed in the office. You mentioned in particular business people and developers. We actually have received a lot of praise from developers that work in the community because before, when our lobby was open in the different manner that it was, they waited in the same line that everyone else waited in if they simply just had to come bring a check or do business for a development, where now they call and they tell us they're coming by and they come in and maybe similar to your experience, I don't know, but come in and give us a check or drop plans off or whatever the business is, and then they leave. And the lobby is much less crowded for them to not have to wait in. All that said, we are, to your point, an entity of the community. We exist to support the community, and we recognize that. Our building was built in the 70s for our customers and for our community members to be served in the 70s. Business is not the same in 2024 as it was in the 70s. So I can definitely say that I don't mind evaluating what it might take to do the right thing for the combination of our customers and our employees if we were to change the way we do business now in our lobby. But it shouldn't be hard to get in our lobby. Like I said, we may need to change some messaging on our door because by appointment only may be a little more rigid than it really should sound, but that's not our intent.
What is the main reason for being closed?
So there are several reasons for keeping the lobby closed after it was closed. One of the purposes is safety. We have had instances where our employees have been approached by customers, and I've got one of my customer service supervisors that can tell you of several instances where he has had to physically separate a customer from one of our customer service reps because of their frustrations over their utility service. And we do have money going through the building, and there again, the improvements that we were considering at the time when COVID happened were possibly substantial. And so as it is right now, we have less than 10% of our customers that pay by coming to us. And so we just feel like, if there's a way we can help them and support them and have less traffic in the lobby, then that is safer, it's less congested. Like I said, we have received positive remarks from the business professionals and developers that need to come in and out of the office from time to time. And so all those things seem to be working together well. So if there's a a portion of our customers that are not adequately served, then I feel like, you know, we can at least evaluate the opportunity of making that service experience better.
I don't think everybody has a problem. I don't have a problem, like I say, because I can call and most of the builders do the same thing.
Sure.
But it's a lot of tenants that they have a problem. First of all, the communication, they don't know that they can call. They call and they say that the place is closed. They proceed to give the reasons that they can pay the direct draft, they can play by mail, they can play all these other terms. There's a lot of people who doesn't have a lot of tenants, especially, but they don't have computers, and they have a very difficult time getting into that. And that's the reason why I'm bringing this to you,
Sure,
because that's what I hear from.
sure.
It's not that I have a problem. I don't have a problem with it, because, like I say, every time I need something, I have a problem sometimes that I have to call 2 or 3 times to get somebody to respond to what I need.
Okay.
But that's something I can live with.
Okay.
But-
Well, unless it's a problem of getting in touch with the right person for a specific need,
No.
that shouldn't be a problem either. So, I
No,
mean,
no,
there may be challenges that we have to overcome in customer service in general, but I feel like, I want to address the specific problem that needs to be addressed and not, create a solution for maybe something that only exists in part and not in whole. So, I'll be glad to sit down with you and talk about that. And, maybe some of that is in messaging, because it sounds like some of the things that there are concerns with, we have multiple solutions for. So maybe the messaging to our customers is wrong. So
Yeah,
I'm,
like I said, most of the tenants that have come to me, and it's not necessarily some of the tenants I have, but they're renting on other buildings.
sure,
They don't know what you say that they can call.
sure.
So I don't know if you can probably communicate that through the bills and
Okay,
let them know some of the other alternatives that they have. But I just don't want Danton Utilities to come to be like Georgia Power.
No, we don't. That is not our intent or our plan for the future at all. So, like I said, we know we are an entity of the community, and our primary duty, my responsibility, is to serve the community and serve the employees. And so that's what I have to consider. when
Right.
we-
That's what I'm addressing the problem to the mayor and the council, because I don't know if they knew that.
Okay,
So
Thank you, Mr. Press. Thank you, John.
thank you.
Before you, council, you have the minutes of the mayor and council meeting of January 8th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The mayor and council special called minutes of January 17th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion. Oh, pardon me. They are amended to include, and we were given in our packet what was published a few days ago, had omitted one section, and you have a highlighted section before you. As all council members had an opportunity to review that.
Yeah, motion to approve is amended. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. New business, item number 4, fireworks display agreement with Technico for July 4th. Caitlin?
Yes, good evening. Before you is the display agreement with Pyrotechnico for our July 4th, 2024 fireworks show. As many of you are aware, the Parks and Recreation Department were responsible for scheduling and everything that has to do with the fireworks show. So we advertised requests for proposals through December, and we received one response, which has been typical for our responses that we've gotten in the past 4 years. Pyrotechnico's proposal included all the necessary insurance for the event, trained technicians to provide the display, a variety of shell sizes, special events effects to provide a safe display show. The total cost for this is $30,000. This includes the pre-show advance payment along with all permitting fees. This has been, I presented this to the Recreation Commission and it comes with a positive recommendation.
And this is in your budget.
This is in the recreation budget.
Have any questions for Caitlin?
I have a question, Madam Mayor. After we get the renovations done at John Davis and it becomes the show place we hope it is, since it's more a part of the city than out on the bypass somewhere, is there any possibility, and it's got all the ways to get in and out, that instead of just one way in and out, any way we could consider bringing the firework display back down to the John Davis area?
We could bring the festivities back over to John Davis. We need a specific size to be able to shoot the shell sizes that we have, but we're not far from the fairgrounds, and that's been a conversation that potentially using that area to fire off the fireworks. Looking back and hearing stories about shooting the fireworks off at the rec department, I don't think the fire department would allow us to do that anymore. So we could get it very close, and that would be the fairgrounds. And that's something that we've talked about. And I think it could be really fun to have it over at John Davis again.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, Caitlin. Item number 5, we have one new 2024 alcohol beverage application. Jesse?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We just have a single application today for your consideration. The business owners is Villares La Cueva LLC, doing business as Villares La Cueva. The applicant's name is Angel Hernandez. Location is like 1107 East Walnut Avenue. The type of license being applied for is pouring beer, excuse me. And we do have Mr. Angel as the applicant here.
Good evening. Do you have any questions regarding the alcohol license? Okay. Thank you for doing business in the city of Dalton. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, item number 6, Blue Line Solutions Automated Photo Enforcement Services Agreement. Chief Cason?
Yes, ma'am. This is an agreement between the Blue Line Solutions and the city of Dalton for APE services, which is automatic photo enforcement in the school zone, specifically on Wall Street in front of Dalton High School, and the secondary school system that'll be over in front of is the Wrong Street Elementary School. The application or contract has been reviewed by the city attorney, and modifications were made to make this in compliance with all applicable laws.
Questions for Chief Cason?
Well, Madam Mayor, I had a question earlier for Mr. Parker. I didn't see the attachment filled out at all as to applicable times. It's just blank. You know, I'm always hesitant to approve a contract that's got a part of it that's just blank, especially since my main concern is that this is only operated when the kids are coming to school and when they're going home from school. Not all day, and not when school's not in session in the summer, and not on weekends. So
the reason Appendix A or Attachment A wasn't filled out on this is at the time that document's filled out, it'll be when we are starting the upcoming school year. And it leaves the flexibility for Dalton Public Schools if they alter the start hours so that it can match that. I can bring that document back when we actually finalize what the fall school zone hours are if this agreement is approved. The times that this would run would be the hour when the flashing lights are going on in the morning and the hour in the afternoon, but we would also be running to keep those speeds down when we have the buses leaving throughout the day, going from Dalton High School to the other schools, transporting students to keep the speeds down. The purpose of this agreement with Blue Line Solutions is to reduce speeds in the parental responsibility zones that we have on Wall Street and MLK. I'm 10 officers short. I do not have the staffing to constantly have officers there to run that. Speed enforcement like we would like to do. So this will help us with that. It will not run during the summertime when schools are off. It will not run during break periods from school. If we have snow days or some type of school cancellation due to some event, there's no citations that would be issued at any time during that. It does not run overnight hours or anything. It's very narrowly focused to help us with our problem in the school zones during the school day.
Well, just running buses back and forth, why would there be any need to have it during that time? I mean, I could understand when people are coming to school and leaving school, but buses running back and forth, see, this is what I'm worried about. I mean,
There's a significant number of vehicles during that time period that are exceeding the speed limit. And there's really not a safe area to do traffic enforcement in either one of those two zones with turning patrol cars around without increasing the risk for accidents and other things. So this is one of those systems that would help us reduce speeds during the school day to reduce accidents as well as try to lower the risk to pedestrians and other folks. And there's people that all day are going to and from both of those schools. You have some students that are released early on work study programs that are coming out of there during that time period between the flashing lights, and their safety is just as important. So that's why I presented this to y'all for consideration.
And Chief, I was especially impressed with the period when they did monitor this and the number of violations. It's just horrific how many people violate the speed limit through there. And it is a very busy corridor and,
Yes, sir.
And before they are actual citations, y'all will get them first and review them or something like that, right?
Everything is reviewed by our staff or will be. And if anything does not meet the guidelines set forth, it would not be approved. Prior to the system going live, there would be public information things pushed out to the community and through the school system as well to make sure everybody's aware that the system would be going active in that area. And there would also be a warning period when it goes in for the first 30 days where there's no citations issued. It's just warnings that are mailed out. So it gives ample opportunity to curb the behaviors. You know, the most significant thing that you'll see from areas that put these into place is that the number of speeding violations during the school day is reduced significantly. In some places see as much as 80% reduction or greater. And that's something that we're not going to be able to achieve with just extra patrols with officers. This would help us get those speeds down and create a safer zone. And, you know, I've had people call and complain about the speeders in those areas, and we try to put extra resources there, but I'm 10 bodies short. I do not have, we answered somewhere around, I think it was 52,000 calls for service last year.
And you also
And we're
have
doing that with 10 less officers.
You also have signage before they enter that.
Will be extreme amount of signage for that, flashing warnings. So you get multiple notifications before you ever actually get into where the enforcement would take place. So there are a lot of visual cues that people will get. And it's one of those things, you'll see some people that change their driving behaviors and not necessarily slow down as much, but go different routes to keep from going through the school zones, which is something that would be desired to actually reduce the number of cars in those zones as well. So I think it's a very good program for the city to enter into, but ultimately y'all are the elected officials and you have to make the decision if it's something you feel comfortable with. But as the chief, I do think that this would be beneficial to the community.
I have a Councilmember Farrow regarding your comment, question or clarification. Jonathan, it's my understanding from Mr. Parker earlier today is that by there not being any attachment of specific times, that is intentional and we would make that decision. Leaves it to the discretion of the council. Am I interpreting that correctly?
Yes, there are times set forth in that exhibit that need to be completed when those determinations are made. And I know Chief Cason is working with the vendor on that, and I think waiting on some information to complete that. So,
Okay. So we can vote on this tonight and then implement the times once we have the set school times from the Dalton Public School System. Is that what we're being asked? And is that
Madam Mayor, if I could just add a point of context, one of the reasons it's brought before you tonight is because GDOT has to issue a permit to install this equipment, which will take a lot of lead time. And I think, Chief, clarify if I'm wrong, but the best case scenario is if we approve tonight, we would have them up and running when the school year resumes in the fall.
That would be the best case scenario, is that it would be next fall before we kicked off. So this is one of those things, there's a lot of legwork that has to go in to get everything done before it can go live. So it's not by the mayor signing off on this agreement, this contract. We're not going to be starting tomorrow with it. We'll be starting the process to get to where we can go live. So there's still some engineering work that would be done by Blue Line Solutions to figure out exactly where they would be mounted and all of that. So there's some work for the vendor to do as well as us.
Do I have any further questions? Okay, I have a
Motion to approve.
Do I have a
Second
second?
it.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Chief Kason.
Thank you very much.
Next item is item number 7, ordinance 24-04, the request of the Joint Development Authority to rezone from transitional commercial C4 to urban planned unit development UPUD tracts of land totaling 3.19 acres located along South Hamilton Street, Nichols Street, and Cherokee Street, parcels 12-257-07-055, parcel 12-257-07-057, parcel 12-257-07-065, and parcel 12-257-07-064. Ethan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I want to take just a moment, if I may, to brag on the city from the Regional Commission's perspective. Working with the Regional Commission, we work with 15 counties and 48 cities. And the issues that were raised earlier in terms of housing demand by Allison with the Believe Greater Dalton initiative are an issue facing not just our region, but the entire state. And unlike a lot of communities that have lingered on planning for this to address this need, Dalton has been well ahead of the ball for years in planning for urban development such as this and redevelopment, and addressing those housing needs. And so with all those various entities mentioned earlier from the Chamber, the Development Authority, Believe Greater Dalton, Florida and Capital Development Corporation, and all these entities working together collaboratively along with county planning and zoning staff, and of course the Regional Commission as well, to address this issue. So this has been a long project in planning. And fortunately, due to a recent announcement last year for state funding from the governor's office through the Rural Workforce Housing Initiative, that application being submitted by the Joint Development Authority last year and approved at the 1st of January this year for $1.5 million to go toward this project, is a great example of collaboration and groups coming together to bring something to reality after years of planning. So I just want to commend the city on the efforts and staff and everybody working together on bringing the first rural workforce housing initiative project in Northwest Georgia. It's in detail, the brass tacks of the action tonight on the agenda is the approval of the zoning request, which you may recall recently the former approval of the urban planned unit development zone district, which is the Unified Zoning Ordinance's newest zone district created specifically for urban redevelopment. And this would be the first rezoning application to rezone a parcel of, or multiple parcels of land in this case, for the urban planned unit development, or UPUD. And before you, you can see the proposal for 39 single-family new dwellings to be developed and the lots accompanying those. These would be single-family, some single-family attached, as we call townhouses, and some single-family detached. So this would allow for that higher density. And of course, the design of the proposed UPUD is a classical urban design. Of course, it was done professionally by the architectural firm and follows a lot of classical urban guidelines like grid pattern streets and conventional lot design. There were no issues cited in the staff analysis, no departmental issues. There was so much collaboration that went on behind the scenes to ensure that all of the details and the design and the site design you see are in accordance and alignment with the UPUD zone district. No issues were identified. In terms of zoning practice, we see no potential for conflict with any adjacent zone districts or any potential for having a negative impact on any of the adjacent properties' values. So with all that in consideration and the overwhelming resounding need, both within the comprehensive plan, Believe Greater Dalton housing strategy, and other strategic plans for the need for housing and workforce housing that this will bring to the city, staff recommendation was a resounding recommendation to approve. The Planning Commission heard no opposition to the rezoning, and there was a condition made in the motion from the Planning Commission that, as Mr. Perez mentioned earlier, there be a requirement as part of that condition for a minimum of 2 off-street parking spaces per unit for the proposed development. That was the Planning Commission recommendation with that condition for parking to approve. And I'll be happy to answer any additional questions.
I guess I have a question, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So is this scheme, as it's presented here, in contemplation of the 2 parking spaces per unit, the one we're looking at?
Yes, sir, that's my understanding.
Okay.
And if I could add, Mayor and Council, City Attorney was asked to prepare a clean rezoning ordinance with no conditions because we feel like we can meet that condition in the site plan development. You know, this is an architectural site plan that's got to be further amended as we do the civil engineering work. So the ordinance in your packet does not include that condition because we feel like we can take care of it as part of the engineering effort.
I move we approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 8, resolution 24-03 to dissolve the Animal Control Board.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got all 3 of the next resolutions shown on the slide as they are related. If you recall, back at the first meeting of the year, we had several committees that we discussed were no longer active, and many of which were joint city-county boards that the county has not been appointing folks to in many years in some cases. So we asked the city attorney to draft resolutions the first one is to dissolve the Animal Control Board. That group has not been active for many years. And what I will say is that we have already started preliminary discussions with the county to adopt a unified animal control ordinance similar to our unified zoning ordinance. And once that step is taken, the city and county would likely appoint members very similar to the Solid Waste Authority or another jointly comprised board to oversee this ordinance and have hearings for dangerous dogs and things like that. So there's still work to be done, but we felt like it was appropriate this time to dissolve the existing Animal Control Board since it's not been active for many years.
That's something the county's committed to work.
Yes, a year or so ago when they adopted their animal control ordinance, it was written very similar to ours. So there's much of the work has already been done to have similar ordinances. We just need to get city attorney together with the county attorney and our staff to make them reconcile into one ordinance.
Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, to have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Item number 9, resolution 24-04 to dissolve the Building Code Appeals Board.
Again, thank you, Madam Mayor. This board has not been active for many years. The county has not been making appointments to this board because they have appointed the authority of this board to the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is a very active board that meets regularly, and the city and county both makes appointments to that board. So what is before you tonight is to dissolve the building code appeal boards and delegate that authority to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So any building code appeals would be pushed to the Board of Zoning Appeals under this resolution.
Move we adopt. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 10, resolution 24-05 to dissolve the grievance committee.
Thank you. This, again, is a board that has not been active for many years. Only a certain small percentage, Greg could probably give you the exact number of our employees are eligible for grievance hearings. Most of those are in the public safety departments. The charter and the employee manual already provide for certain types of grievance to be heard by other entities of the city, such as the PSC or the city council or staff. And so we feel like the existing framework of the employee manual and the city charter provide that responsibility, be borne out by other committees instead of a defined grievance committee.
Questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Who made the motion?
Dennis. Any opposed? Okay, motion, resolution passes. Item number 12, resolution 24-07 to adopt ADA transition plan.
Madam Mayor, I believe we had 2406, the tennis courts.
Oh, excuse me, item number 11, resolution 2406, transferring property to the Dalton Board of Education.
If you all will recall, we discussed this in detail at the last Finance Committee, but in 2007, the Board of Education transferred ownership of the tennis courts located at Dalton High to the city of Dalton. We looked through the minutes, talked to staff, and could never really ascertain why that was done. But where we are today is that the courts have not been maintained regularly in the last few years, and the school system is prepared to renovate the courts. Our staff has confirmed that we don't offer any recreation department programming on the courts. They are exclusively used by the school system. But what we did, if you all will recall, there was a concern presented that some of the neighborhoods nearby may utilize the courts. And so Dalton Public Schools was willing to accept a deed encumbrance to allow for the public to continue utilizing those courts so long as there's no organized Dalton High related event. So this resolution would authorize transfer of the property to the school system and authorize the mayor to sign the deed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now, resolution 24-07 to adopt ADA transition plan.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, this resolution will adopt our first ever ADA transition plan. This adoption of this plan will bring us into compliance with GDOT requirements for various funding opportunities that the city has had in previous years and hopefully in years to come. This plan is just an overall plan to moving forward to ensure that all programs and facilities of the city meet all ADA requirements. Fortunately, most of our facilities were built after the ADA went into effect in 1990. But this plan will outline the city's commitment to making sure that these programs and facilities are in compliance with ADA. Over the last several weeks, our staff has done a great job evaluating and conducting a self-assessment as a part of this plan. And our plan moving forward, and is outlined within this plan, is to create reports for each one of those departments, and we will correct all deficiencies that were found, which we're glad to say there were not many, but there were some, and we will be addressing those in the coming weeks, and plan to update the council at a minimum annually on those issues found and how we adopted those. Obviously, some of those are going to require some planning and some budgetary demands as far as that goes. But we plan to do that in the future moving forward.
Madam Mayor, if I could just applaud the efforts of our department heads. GDOT kind of hit us out of the blue with this and gave us a very short timeline to put this together. So the department heads did an exceptional job reviewing their facilities, and Assistant City Administrator, Mr. Pangle, did an excellent job putting the report together so that we can meet the deadline.
One last thing to note. I knew I'd forget something. I gave you a hard copy. The reason for the hard copy is City Administrator Andrew and I made some grammatical and some verbiage change, but the overall intent of the plan did not change. We just wanted you guys to have the right copy, and that will be reflected in the minutes as well.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Second. I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pangle has the next item also. Item number 13, Confluence Design Proposal for City Branding Project.
I do have that right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. This proposal before you is as an effort of our city rebranding, or our city branding project that we've been talking about for several weeks. Kind of looking forward to this, and just to give you an overall preview of what we're looking at. This will is not just a new logo or refreshing our logo, but this will do things such as develop and adopt a color palette, so that when you look across the city at different city facilities, it'll tie everything together, but as well as email signatures, letterhead, fonts and whatnot. And it will tie all of the city departments together, just in sight, appearance, and just overall our communications will all be in unison with one another. And this agreement comes in. We'll also be working in coordination with other agencies that we commonly interact with as well to try to tie in some of these. But this proposal comes in at $30,900.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Motion and a second. Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 14, ratify engagement with the Arbitrage Group, Inc. to perform rebate calculation in regards to Dalton Building Authority revenue bonds issue 2021 and 2022.
Yes, you may or may not realize this, but when we issue bonds through the Building Authority, we have certain compliance issues that we have to take care of regardless of whether it's the county, the school board. Now, Dalton Utilities, we do have a post-compliance issue in policy, and they do take care of their own, but I take care of the school issues if Whitfield County issues it, or the city. And these are on revenue bonds only. So at certain times as part of our due diligence, we need to do a rebate calculation because we're only allowed to earn a certain percentage, and it's called an arbitrage rebate. It's called an arbitrage interest rate. So we have our bond rate and arbitrage rate. So we have to have this calculation is done to see if we are in arbitrage and have to pay the IRS our additional earnings over what we're allowed to earn. We have had this rebate calculation done, and the school and the city, we are fine. We don't have to pay any money back as of this time, but there'll be different checkpoints until these bonds are paid off that we will have certain compliance issues performed.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion, that was motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Cindy. Next, we have item number 15, supplemental funding agreement number 1 with GDOT for ramp rehab at airport. Andrew Williamson.
Mayor and Council, good evening. Just have a supplemental agreement here with Georgia Department of Transportation for additional funds for our ramp rehab project. As you know, we ran into some extra needs, costs during the project, which wrapped up in December late December of last year. Those funds will not be completely covered by this amendment, but for the most part, they will be. The total is $523,148.90. These are 100% funds that will not require a local match. And this was provided by the FAA. These were funds that were left over from some other projects in the state that were able to be transferred to us to cover these additional costs. Happy to answer any questions on that.
Madam Mayor, if I could just remind the council that we told you that it would probably be a year before we got these funds, and Andrew definitely overachieved and got them back in a month. So hats off to Mr. Wiersma.
Motion to approve.
Happily second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Next item is number 16, Bion Cybersecurity Professional Services Agreement 2024.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor and council members. So this is before you is a professional service agreement with Bion Security. We are looking for approval so that way they can help the city's IT department deploying network and other maintenance on computer services and softwares. The funds are already approved in the IT's operating budget of 2024. And Bion Security is already a vendor of the city, and we've worked with them for 3 years already. Any questions?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And I believe you have number 17, Cybersecurity State Grant.
Yes, so I wasn't as fortunate as Andrew to get all these going really fast. So this one, we actually applied for in September 16th of 2022. The Department of Homeland Security announced the first of its kind cybersecurity grant program specifically for the state, local, and territorial governments across the country. And this is a grant that I applied for, and we just now heard back from them to go ahead and get the ball moving. So before you is an MOU for the city to receive grant funds.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion,
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
18, InterDev Professional Services Agreement 2024.
Okay, on this one, Mrs. Mayor and council members, we're looking to enter an agreement with professional services with InterDev based out of Roswell, Georgia. They have assisted us prior to this project, and they've done a fantastic job. This is just to continue GIS professional services with the city of Dalton.
Any questions? Motion,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Last item, number 20, appointments.
Madam Mayor, I think we had one more IT item, Threat Locker.
Okay, sorry. Number 19, Threat Locker Software Agreement.
Thank you. So this is the last software. This one's actually a software agreement with Threat Locker. Threat Locker is a software development firm that emphasizes on zero trust technology and framework, something that the IT department looking to achieve. And this company is going to help out the city of Dalton with an auditing on data storage services for the whole city. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 20, appointments. We have 3 appointments. We need to do these individually.
These are mayoral, so these are no vote.
So just to announce the Historic Preservation, new member, current member is Councilmember Farrow. New member will be Councilmember Farrow. And Land Bank, these were both expired terms, will be Councilmember Mock and myself. Any supplemental business before this council?
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, we do have 7 or 8 board appointments as well,
Excuse me.
and they're on the screen here.
Okay. We have for the Development Authority, and these we're voting on, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
The can we do them all together, or we're doing them?
If there are no objections, you can do them all together. If there are any objections, you can do them.
Okay, we're gonna do these together. Development Authority. We're still.
That's still to be determined.
To be determined. Library Board, Ann Compton for a 3-year term expiring 3/2/26. Convention Visitors Bureau, Josafat Rodriguez, 2-year term expiring 12/31/25. Housing Authority Resident Member Brenda Barrett, 1-year term expiring 12/31/24. Housing Authority Antoine Simmons, 5-year term expiring 12/31/28. Public Safety Commission Lane Jackson, 5-year term expiring 12/31/28. Historic Preservation Commission Zach Long, 3-year term expiring 2/1/27. And Tree Board Ron Blaylock for the balance term and expiring 12/31/24.
Move we approve these appointments.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there any supplemental business?
No.
Okay. And there are no announcements. We will stand adjourned. Thank you.
It's gotta be the longest meeting.
I'm sorry, I'll do that.